With us now is Republican Congressman Dusty Johnson of South Dakota. He serves on the Agriculture and Transportation Committees. Congressman, good morning. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
First, elaborate. Why do you think shutdowns are, quote, stupid?
Well, we're actually one of the few countries in the whole world that do it this way. Most countries, if the politicians don't get an agreement by the deadline, the previous level of funding just continues. I've got a bill with Ron Johnson from Wisconsin that would put that same process into place for us, the Eliminate Shutdowns Act. But the reason shutdowns are stupid is this is the basic responsibility of government. People pay taxes, they expect services, they should get them. We should not have the pain of a shutdown fall on the public. We should have the pain of a shutdown fall on the politicians.
I have no doubt many Americans agree with you. Speaker Mike Johnson, and Hannah mentioned this too, sent all of you home for the week. You're still in Washington, Congressman. Where do you see the urgency on the Speaker's part to end this shutdown?
Well, I'm not in Washington right now, although I will be headed there shortly. I'm going to be in Washington next week. There does need to be some urgency. Now, admittedly, there's not a lot for the House to do. The House has voted on a bipartisan basis to keep the government open. The ball is in the Senate's court. You know, the Senate's the more difficult vote. As you know, they need 60 votes to make anything happen in the Senate. That does require a bipartisan agreement. We've already had 3 Democrats continue to vote with Republicans to get government back open. If we can just get a couple or 3 more who are willing to admit that these negotiations on these key policy issues should happen while the government is open, rather than to do those negotiations while the government is closed, then I think we'll be in good shape.
The Office of Management and Budget told federal agencies to think of the shutdown as a, quote, opportunity to fire federal workers. I want to play something from your colleague, Congressman James Comer. That's what he had to say about it on Friday on NewsNation. Let's take a quick listen.
At the end of the day, I think now's the time to react and to try to eliminate unnecessary government programs. I don't like to see anyone lose their job, but whether you're in the private sector or public sector, you know, there are tough decisions that have to be made.
Do you agree with this sentiment?
Well, the president, well, frankly, every president, anytime we've had a shutdown, they've always tried to use a little bit of leverage, a little bit of the threat of the shutdown. I was chief of staff to Governor Dugard here in South Dakota back during an Obama shutdown, and Barack Obama's administration barricaded the highway that led up to Mount Rushmore. Now, not like the private drive to Mount Rushmore, the highway that just happened to go by it. That had never been done in shutdowns before. Clearly, White Houses like to send a message about the pain that any shutdown can cause. The president's not gaining new power to fire people during a shutdown. This is power that he's already had, and frankly, I think, as we know, a power that he's already used a fair amount over the course of the last 8 months.
The Affordable Care Act subsidies, as you well know, Congressman, are one of the biggest sticking points in the shutdown. Of course, it helps millions of people in our country. According to SNAP, a poll done by the Washington Post, over 2/3 of Americans want to see those subsidies extended beyond this year of 2025. Do you have any thoughts on whether or not Republicans are possibly on the wrong side of the issue here?
I think, well, I'll tell you what, I've done a lot of media interviews in the last week. I've probably talked to 1,000 South Dakotans. I've probably talked to 30 of my Democratic colleagues. And almost every single person I talk to acknowledges that COVID-era subsidies for people making 600% or 700% of poverty, a family of 4 making $250,000, probably doesn't make sense. The pandemic has been over for 5 years. We're $2 trillion upside down on spending every single year. Maybe subsidizing people making $250,000 isn't the highest and best use of our tax dollar. And maybe it's not the best reason to shut down government. And so I think if you frame the issue in the right way, very quickly people are going to realize we should do the negotiation about how do we help working class Americans with health care costs while the government is open.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.